Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on this eyeshadow look using the Jeffree Star Cremated palette. I know I just did a video with this palette, but I wanted to come on and do a more wearable look. So if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. Alright guys, so my eyes are already primed with my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in with the Cremated palette. I'm going to do a little bit of a different look than what I did last time. In case you missed that last video, I will go ahead and link it below and probably throw it up in the corner. But I'm going to do a little bit more of a wearable look with this palette. I have actually tried this palette. I wore it another day with a more wearable look, and I was playing around and did two different looks. So I have been dipping into the palette since I filmed that last video. So I am going to go ahead and dip into bridal gown, since I believe in my last look I dipped into the other light shade. So I'm just going to use that to set down my lid area and set down the concealer. So that works very nicely to set down the lid area. I believe I used that the last time I used this palette off camera, and I like it. I mean, both of these shades right here can do pretty much the same thing. As you can see on camera, they don't vary that much to where it makes a huge difference. So I think what I want to do is do the look I did off camera one day, and that was using these three colors. I may even dip into this shimmer here, but these are the more like wearable look shadows in my opinion. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take a fluffy crease brush, and I'm taking my Sigma E40 for this, and I'm going to go ahead and dip into Obituary. That is going to be my crease shade. Like I said, I'm making this a more wearable look, so I'm not going as dark as I did in the last look. So I'm dipping into Obituary, and definitely tap off the excess with this palette. There's a lot of kick up in this one, so make sure you're tapping off your brush. Otherwise, you might get more shadow than you really wanted. So as you can see, it's not super dark right off the bat, but it does add a little bit of color. So and I am bringing this all the way to the inner part. I do like the way that looks, but of course, you know, you don't want to make it as dark as the outer portion. And it's good to move your eye around in different angles, at least for me, because this eye, I don't quite have hooded lids, but this one does have a little bit of a like hood tendency. I think I have I don't know if you'll be able to really tell on camera, but it definitely does. So that's why I like to like adjust my positioning when I'm blending out shadows, just to make sure that I'm getting all throughout the crease and there's nothing that's getting missed. So if you have hooded eyes, that's definitely a tip that you could take. And just make sure you're like bending your head back to open it up and also bringing it forward. That's usually what I do when I'm applying my crease shade. Just gonna do the same thing on the other eye. Alright, so here's where we're at with the shade Obituary. As you can see, it definitely adds a little bit of something to the crease. It's not super dark, obviously. It's definitely a lighter shade, which I like. So then what I want to do is I'm going to take more of like a precise crease brush. This is this is from the Sephora. It's from a Sephora kit. It's a Sephora pointed crease brush. It does not have a number or anything. But what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to actually jump over to another shade really quick before going in with my darkest shade. I'm going to go in with the Morgue. I'm going to also go in with this one, but I want to first go in with this one. This is a little bit different than what I did when I did this look off camera, but I just want to see how this shade performs because I have not used it yet. I just want to show you really quickly how much kick up this shade ended up producing. Look at that. That is quite a bit just from tapping in, and I'm not being aggressive when I'm tapping. I just want you guys to keep that in mind, that it is quite a bit of kick up. And again, tap off the brush. So I'm just gonna start stamping this in the outer corner and then bringing it into the crease. I don't want to use too much of this shade. I'm just deepening up everything a little bit. And I'm trying to keep my like flicked out shape. I don't want it to be super rounded. Dipping in again. So here is this shade now. That is the Morgue added on. As you can see, there definitely is a difference from adding that shade to just Obituary. Now, of course, you don't have to make it as deep. You know, you can honestly leave this here. You don't have to deepen it anymore if you don't want to. That's the beauty of makeup. But again, just the same thing on the other eye. Alright, here is both lids with Obituary. I feel like this one does look like it goes out a little bit more, but they're never twins, they're usually just sisters. But once I do my bottom lower lash line, everything will connect and make more sense. I think I'll first go in with Mausoleum on my finger. I have found that these do not really apply that well with a brush. That is the case with a lot of metallic shades, so I'm not mad at that. So I'm just going to take Mausoleum on my finger, and that is this shade right here. And I'm just going to add that to my lid. So here is Mausoleum so far. It's definitely a lighter shade. Now here are the eyes with just Mausoleum. You could leave this look here, but I think what I want to do is I think I want to go ahead and take Last Look and just tap a little bit of this on the outer corner. It looks super dark like on my finger, but when I swatched it, it doesn't look that deep. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap this into the outer corner. Or I should say like the outer portion of the lid. When you're picking up this shade, be careful because I just noticed that it does pick up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Like it does pick up quite a bit, and because there is kick up, there's definitely like I don't know how to explain it. You just have to be careful not to get too much of it everywhere. I'm actually getting a little bit of fallout, which I already did my face makeup, so I'll just try to brush that away. Alright, so here is the eyes. I'm gonna of course go and blend with some other shadows, but here is the shadow with both of those on the lid. Let me go ahead and try to brush away some of that fallout that happened. I can definitely see, mainly on this side, there's definitely some like glitter fallout on that eye, but it's not a big deal. I mean, most of the dark pigment at least wiped away. So before I do anything else to the upper lid, I'm gonna go ahead and jump down to the lower lash line, and I'm gonna take my Morphe M506. I use this in almost every single look, and I'm gonna jump in. I'm actually gonna mix Obituary and the Morgue. Those are the two shades we used in the crease. I'm just gonna mix these and buff this into the lower lash line. I don't want it to get too smoky because this is more of a wearable look, but I definitely want a little something. So as you can see, that just helped to connect everything, but it's not too much, it's not too smoky, and once we put on mascara and stuff, it won't look over the top or anything. So that is the eyes so far. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other lower lash line. Alright, so here are the eyes so far. I definitely do need to go up and blend just a little bit on the lid and all that and clean everything up, but this is pretty much the look as far as the eyeshadow goes. I think it looks really nice and it's definitely wearable, but again, let me just go ahead and blend some stuff out. Going back in with my Sigma E40, and I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of Obituary on this brush just to blend out the edges now. I took the very littlest bit of Obituary, it's not much at all, just to do the blending. Alright, so that is blended. I know on camera sometimes the outer corners do look a little weird, but I think it's just the light reflecting, because in person I think it looks really, really nice. I'm actually very happy with where the shadows are at. I think this is a very nice, like, wearable look. I would definitely wear this honestly to my office job with, you know, obviously with mascara and stuff. I don't think that it's too much. I really don't, especially for a palette that is mainly dark shadows and, you know, grays and all that. So, and I think this turns out to look very different than the first look I did. Again, that will be linked below. I focused more on the grays and the darker shades, so this is definitely different. I think the look is totally different than what that one was, which is nice. So I do want to go ahead and do my inner corner and brow bone. Now I have to say that this Diamond Ashes shade, which is the main, like, inner corner shade for me, at least especially for this look. Of course, if I was doing like a deeper silver, I could easily use Goodbye, but obviously for this kind of look, I really want to use Diamond Ashes. I will say the shade is not my favorite. There is something different about it compared to the other shadows. I think it is a different type of shimmer. It does work, it's just not my favorite shadow from him. So I'm just going to tap that into the inner corner. Again, all of the shimmers that I've used so far in my using this palette over the course of the last week, the shimmers do not really apply that well with a brush. So the finger is the best bet. That really doesn't bother me. A lot of times I apply my metallics with my finger. So, but I just want to point that out. So that is the inner corner highlight. It definitely does do a good job of highlighting, but it's just not my favorite shade. Now I think for the brow bone, what I'm gonna do, and I believe I did this last tutorial, is just take Death Blow, this white shade right here, and just just highlight the brow bone with this shade, because I really don't want to use a shimmer on the brow bone. But this is a nice white shade that definitely does add highlighting. I don't know how much you can tell on camera, but it definitely does lift the brow. This is a really nice white shade. Alright, so I'm going to go pop on some liner, mascara, lipstick, that whole thing, and then I will come back to wrap up the video. Alright guys, so this is the final look. I added my Artist Couture Boy Toy lipstick. I use this pretty much every time I do a nude lip now. I thought a nude lip would be appropriate given that I used more of the like wearable colors in the palette, and I'm overall really happy with how this look turned out. I did screw up my liquid liner on this side. I kind of angled the wing up too high, but I think with mascara and from a distance it doesn't look too bad. I'm still getting the hang of doing my liner with the Kaja Wink Stamp liner system. I do still really love this. I have a video dedicated to demoing this on my channel. But anyway, like I said, this is the final look. As you can see for the palette, it is definitely super wearable. I don't feel like it is over the top or anything. I think this is totally wearable and super easy to do. As you saw, it didn't take very long. If I wasn't doing a tutorial, I could easily do this look in like 10 minutes. So I just want to kind of go over my like thoughts on using this palette now that it has been a week since I posted my last tutorial. Like I said, I did do basically this similar look off camera, and I played around and did 2 different looks on my eyes, again off camera. And I will say that I attempted to do 2 different looks on both of my eyes the other night, and they did turn out similarly. I won't say they were exact same, but I don't think it was a huge difference. Now, I wouldn't have gone out wearing like the 2 different looks on my eyes because I feel like you could tell, but overall I feel like with a lot of these you're gonna get very similar looks. Now, I still love this palette and I still am enjoying using it. Do I think this could have maybe been like an 18 pan? I believe I said that in my first impressions review from last week as well. I do think that this could have probably been an 18 pan palette and you would get the same looks, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we needed all of these different grays because a lot of them, once they're on the eye, they kind of do the same thing. Now, I really don't mind that this is a bigger palette and that I have more shades. I like playing around with the different shades and I like feeling like I have more options per se. Like if I want to dip into, you know, like, okay, for example, in this case I went in with the Morgue, whereas the last time I did this look I went in with Inheritance. Now, I don't think the looks turned out vastly different when I did this look, but it is fun to play with different colors. And as you can see from looking at the palette up close, there definitely is differences in the tones that these shades are. So it's not like you're getting 2 of the exact same color, you know what I mean? But again, once it's on the eye and you blend it with other colors, a lot of the looks do turn out similarly. Now, like I was mentioning in the beginning, these 2 shades, they pretty much do the exact same thing for me. You can't tell a difference on me personally when I put either of these shades down to set my concealer. So could we have foregone one of these? Definitely. Like, personally, I think I like Casket Ready just a little bit more versus Bridal Gown, just because this one has a little bit more of like a yellow undertone to it, whereas this one is like a true neutral, like it's an off-white as you can see from this white, but it is, to me, it's a little bit more neutral. So like I said, there's definitely shades in here that we didn't necessarily need, but I am overall really pleased with this palette and I do think it performs well. As I was mentioning throughout the tutorial, there is kick up in these shades. I feel like these shades actually have a little bit more kick up than some of my other palettes from him. I'm not sure, I just feel like maybe they do. And kick up for me, it does not bother me. I just make sure to tap off my brush. If I didn't tap off my brush, I could see getting annoyed and being a little bit frustrated with the palette, but just make sure you tap off your brush, blow the excess away, it's fine. As you can see, I mean, I don't even think that kick up is going to cause me to hit pan anytime soon. I have never hit pan in a shadow, so I don't foresee that happening with this. But I will say I do enjoy reaching for this, and like I said, this look that I'm wearing right now that I showed you the tutorial of, I would definitely wear this. This is the second time I've done this type of look, and I'm happy with it. Like I said, I would wear it out in the everyday world. I feel like it is a little bit different than my usual brown, neutral, like everyday looks, you know, because the tones are definitely different than what I use normally. So it's fun to play with, you know. If you like Jeffree Star's products, then I definitely think you will like this palette. I don't think that this is vastly different than any of his others in regards to formula. Some of these shimmers in here, they are a different type of shimmer. I don't think every single shimmer is the exact same type. For example, I feel like this one is different than like this one in regards to their formulation. I could be wrong. I don't know the exact on whether like what the different technical terms are for these, if they are actually a different formula, but I feel like they are. So anyway, that is enough. I just wanted to kind of update you on like my thoughts with using this palette. I still enjoy it. I'm still happy I picked it up. I've been wanting to reach for it. It's not something I just used once and put in my drawer, so that's good. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I'm sure I'll do more looks with this in the future, but since I'm posting like 2 back-to-back, I probably will give you guys a break on Cremated tutorials. I'm not sure if this is actually available on his site right now. He did do a big restock of a bunch of palettes and a bunch of products, so it's possible that it's available. I have not checked, But anyway, that is it for my kind of updated thoughts on this. I still really enjoy it, still like it, and I also, again, I love that it does this and it doesn't feel like it's stressing out the palette. There's a really nice feature because it makes it a little bit easier to hold when you're doing things. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed a more everyday take on the Cremated palette. If you guys picked this palette up, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear if you did. And also, don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me when you do those things, and it helps my channel out. So that is it for this tutorial. I wanted to keep this a little bit shorter than my usual really lengthy tutorials. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.